What is going on, everybody? This is S Trades, and this is day 17 of the bootcamp. And in this video, we're going to be talking about psychology and why is it so important. It's pretty much like a part two of the previous psychology video that I was talking about, and pretty much how to actually fix your psychology and how to work on it and, become better. Because let's be honest, psychology at the end of the day, in my opinion, and in a lot of people's opinion, is probably the most important part in trading. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. So depending on where you are in your trading journey, right, you might be a complete beginner or you might be like somewhat intermediate and have already like a decent strategy that you trade with and things like that. It really kind of just depends on where you are. But for the most part, every single person that ends up trading for a good, like for a few months at the very least, right, they're going to start to face some psychology problems, right? Trading is majority psychology. Like once you kind of sit down and get the technicals down and master the technicals, right? You understand how the charts move. You understand your strategy, right? You could go ahead and open up the chart and read the bias and be like, okay, I kind of, I understand, or I could see where the trade is going, whatever. This is the easy part. Like honestly, like you could trade, you could learn the technicals and so like you could learn the technicals super fast. Like it's not, that part is super easy. And again, a lot of strategies work. It doesn't have to be specifically my strategy or some other ICT strategy, order flow. It doesn't matter. Like any strategy really that you could backtest and prove that it's right, as long as you could just have a somewhat decent, like at least a 50% win rate or even 40% win rate, right? You could make it work, right? Because a lot of the times it also depends on the person you are, right? So there are a lot of times strategies that are like 40% win rate, 50% win rate. And people are like, how do you become profitable with that such little kind of like such small percentage of win rate, right? Now that comes down to a risk to reward, right? Because you could be winning 40% of the time, but you're risking 1 to 3. So like, if one trade hits, it removes 3 other losses. So it's like you could definitely be profitable within any type of strategy, right? This is kind of the point that I want to get across, right? So once you actually get the strategy down, right, which is what we're working on in this boot camp, but psychology is also very important. So I'm kind of, want to put this before I get to like the final parts of the boot camp. But I just want you guys to focus that strategy is not the most important thing, right? Like obviously you need a profitable strategy, right? But that's not the most hardest thing to find, okay? I could give you guys my trading strategy that's really profitable, that's made me money, that's made a lot of people money, that's made my mentors money, right? Like I got that strategy from my mentors, and I kind of added my own twist to it, right? So now once you actually master it, then that's when the psychology problems kick in, right? You have FOMO, now you have greed, you have fear of missing out, you have fear of losing money, all these different things that you're going to be experiencing, right? Because a lot of the times people tell me, oh, like I just made $1,000 or $10,000 on this paper account, like I think I'm ready. I'm like, bro, you're not. Trust me. Like paper, anytime you're trading with fake money, you have zero emotions. You're not gonna ever do whatever you're doing on paper on an actual account. You're never gonna do that. Trust me. Like, and that again, it comes down to you actually going in the actual markets and making those mistakes and losing the money. That's the only time when you're actually gonna learn, right? So, what I always tell people is like, no matter what I tell you, no matter what any other mentor or anybody else tells you, you're never gonna be 100% like guaranteed to win, or you're not going to be able to be like, all right, well, he told me to do this, boom, I do this and I'm become profitable. No, you're going to have to do it yourself. You're going to have to make the mistakes over and over again until you change it yourself, right? So for example, I'm also speaking on my personal behalf because I'm still making these mistakes, right? I'm not like that profitable. I'm not, I'm still getting to my journey, right? And the thing that I want to emphasize heavy to you guys right now, especially to those that are new to trading, right, is the discipline aspect and habits, right? Now, these two, in my opinion, are very, very, very important, right? If you, in my opinion, if you could master discipline and if you could practice good habits at the beginning of your trading journey, you're gonna be like you're gonna be way ahead of any other trader that's out there, right? For example, me, when I just started trading, I made a lot of money in options, right? I started making money, and I was like, oh, like I have this thing figured out. How did I make money? Because I over traded, I over leveraged, I risked my whole entire account just on single trades, right? And I just entered on some BS trades that didn't really have a setup back in it. I was just kind of quote unquote reading price action, right? So I didn't really have like a set of rules and strategy. So I just kind of entered randomly, and I got lucky a few times, right? And then those bad habits start to build up, right? Once you repeat a same cycle of bad things in your life, then it becomes not really an addiction, but it becomes a bad habit that is very hard to get rid of. It's like a leech that gets onto you, and you can't really get rid of it. Like, it takes a really long time, and it's really, really hard to get rid of it, right? So if you're used to over trading, right? If you're used to like trying to get your money back, if you're used to like getting FOMO and then entering random trades because you don't want to miss out, right? If you're revenge trading, right? If you can't take a simple loss on a day and you just try to make your money back and then boom, you blow up an account, right? If you do all of these mistakes for a longer period of time, at that point it becomes a bad habit, right? And I'm speaking personally for myself because I'm still facing these issues. Personally, for example, I really can't take a loss, right? Once I take a loss, it might be like a stupid loss or whatever. It gets me really emotional, and then I start to get that into the revenge trading mindset, like, oh my god, I need to make my money back. I can't let this funded account go, or things like that. And then I just go on tilt. I take stupid trades. I take emotional trades. I set up emotional take profits and emotional stop losses, which end up getting hit, of course, and then I lose money on it, blow up accounts and things like that, right? So once you continuously do these bad habits, they just stay with you, right? And it's really hard to get rid of, right? Were you ever in a trade and then you took this random trade? At the moment you might have thought like, oh, I can make money on it, but then when you lost on that trade, right, you look back onto the trade and be like, why did I enter that trade? Like, it was really not a good trade, and I don't understand why I entered the trade. Like, or even like, let's say you lost money and then you went on tilt and you blew up an account, and then after you did that, and then you'd be like, why did I do that? Like, I knew, like, in the back of my mind, in the back of my head, I told myself just stop trading right there. Like, it's fine. Like, just take that loss. But you didn't listen to yourself. You just went on and you acted on your emotions, right? That's what's called bad habits, right? You're acting on your emotions. You're letting the emotions control you, right? It's supposed to be the other way around, right? Obviously, you're not gonna be able to like be a fully 100% like a robot and fully control every single emotion. Like, no, any profitable trader out there gets emotional, right? They sometimes make mistakes, right? But they minimize those mistakes, right? They don't act on their emotions all the time. They get emotional all the time. Like, I see my mentors like taking a very stupid loss, right? And they get emotional, right? They get like, oh, like, I'm really emotional right now. I want to make my money back, and then they realize that, okay, like, I'm not in the best state of mind to be trading, and that's why they just hop off. They would just get off. We don't look at the charts no more. There's no day tomorrow. The markets aren't going nowhere. The markets are here for a very, very long time. Okay, you're always gonna have more opportunities, and you don't have to make all the money back today after a loss. Just leave it as a loss, and come back later. In a game of trading, it's the best loser wins, right? If you guys ever heard that quote, whoever knows how to lose, right, and accepts the loss is the one that's gonna come out on top later on, because everything else in life we're used to like a 9 to 5, or in school, right? You work hard, you put in more time, you put in more effort into things, and you get rewarded for it, right? And losing in any aspect of life seems like a negative thing, right? Like, for example, if you, I don't know, did something at your job and then you lost it, or like you got yelled at, or things like that, like, or you did bad on a test, right? You're losing in certain aspects of life. It's looked at as a negative, and you don't want to do that, right? You try everything that you could possibly do in your life to avoid these things, to quote unquote lose, right? Obviously, you learn from those mistakes and you come out on top later on, and you become better, right? But in trading, it's a different field. You have to lose. Like, you literally have to lose for such a long time in order for you to be actually profitable. Like, that is why it's such a hard field for you guys to like actually be successful in, is because your brain and your body isn't used to these conditions, isn't used to be like losing on a day-to-day basis, isn't used to like battling with your emotions constantly, right? Trading is like a mirror. It's like a life check. It's like a self check of who you are as a person, right? Like, I would mention all the time, if you simply don't wake up early in the morning, right? If you can't make your bed, if you don't go to the gym, if you don't have a job, and if you're not disciplined enough to like, if you say like, all right, I'm gonna go to the gym at 5 o'clock, and you don't go at 5 o'clock, you push it on like an extra hour or even like the next day, right? You're not a disciplined person, right? You can't follow simple life rules, right? You can't listen to your own self, and what makes you think that you're going to be successful in trading, because trading is literally a reflection of who you are, right? If you can't follow rules in real life, if you're not disciplined enough in real life, you're not going to be disciplined on the charts. You're going to be losing and trying to get your money back, and then you guys know the rest of the story after that. If you're building these bad habits, right? For example, me, I've been trading for over 2 years now, right? And those 2 years I've been doing very bad habits, like over trading, pretty much gambling, right? Over leveraging, revenge trading, having FOMO, acting on my emotions all the time, right? And those 2 years of bad habits built that foundation of my trading, right? Because every time I'm looking at the charts, I have a profitable system, right? I know exactly how to execute on it. I know exactly at the back of my mind how I should act on with my emotions, right? I literally have everything I need to become profitable, but still, till this day, I make these mistakes that end up blowing my accounts, blowing up my funded accounts, right? Out being in a profit, and then boom, now I'm in a loss. I don't have an account no more, right? So all of these things is because those bad habits are so hard to get rid of, right? I take a trade, for example, right? And let's say it was an emotional trade and I don't see it at the moment, but once I lose that trade, and in the back of my mind, I was like, I literally told myself, do not take that trade because it's going to be a loss. You're emotional right now, but yet you acted on your emotions, right? Your emotions was the ones that was controlling you. You weren't controlling your own self. Like, how weak of a mindset is that you're not even able, especially as a man, to control yourself? Like, if you can't control what you think, if you can't control like your desires, if you can't control any of your own aspects of life, like you won't really get far. Like, you really won't. Like, as a man and even as a woman, you have to be able to control yourself. You have to able to be like, all right, if I say I'm gonna do this and that at this and that time, you have to go and do it, because that's that you're giving a word to yourself, right? Same with trading, right? If you say you're gonna take 1 to 2 trades a day, you take 1 to 2 trades a day, no more, no, that's it. Like, and I find myself all the time breaking these rules, right? I take one trade, right? It's an L, and then I was like, all right, I have one more trade. I take the second one, it's an L, and I was like, okay, it's an L, and then my head is like, all right, those rules that you set for yourself tell you to get off the charts right now and just go for a walk, do your work, or do something else, right? Just leave, close the charts, right? But what happens, like, later on in 5-10 minutes, I'm back on the charts trying to make my money back, right? I'm starting to create these scenarios in my head, like, well, there's another setup that's happening here. Well, this looks decent. I could possibly make my money back. And then what I do, I just go and act on my emotions, right? Now, emotions are taking over me. I don't have the control over my emotions, right? So in that aspect, those bad habits is what builds your foundation, right? So in order for you to change that and for you to actually master your psychology, is you have to start building good habits, right? So just I'm gonna probably start this challenge on a YouTube and my TikTok, a 30-day challenge. And this 30-day challenge is going to consist of you following your rules, right? Even if you don't have any rules, right now, go open a pen and paper, or on your laptop or whatever. Write your own rule book, right? Write all the rules that you have for your trading, right? If you don't have it, I could give you guys some. But if you have, write your rules down. Be like, all right, I'm taking 1 to 2 trades a day, right? If I win my first trade, I'm off for the day. If I lose one, I have one more chance. And on that second trade, I de-risk half, right? And then if I lose that, I'm done for the day. I'm closing on charts. I'm not going back, right? Set those rules, right? Go to the gym every single day, right? Have a job that actually supports your financial needs, and so you don't have to like rely on trading as your life and death situation, right? Have a job, right? You need a job. I know this quote unquote word job sounds scary in these trading industry. Everyone wants to escape it, but you can't escape the matrix, like people say it, right? If you don't have a job at first, you need to be put in the position of where you don't want to be in the future, right? If you don't want to be like a slave working a 9 to 5, you have to be put in that position now to see why you don't want to be in that position, to see what you're missing out on, like, because you're not really missing out on much, right? I mean, no offense to people that work a 9 to 5, like, there's a lot of great jobs that pay well, right? And there's nothing wrong with it. But me personally, and a lot of other like entrepreneurs, you could say, don't want to have that 9 to 5, don't want to have that boss, don't want to have to like answer to somebody higher and then trying to climb up this ladder and then eventually get like a raise and then things like that. When I don't want to be a part of that, so I want to escape that. I want to be someone that answers to myself, have my own financial freedom, right? And in order for you to do that, you have to find a field for it. And I found trading, and unfortunately, it's one of the hardest fields to do, right? And I've been doing it, and I'm still unprofitable, but I'm building my way up, just like you guys, right? And I'm making these videos just for you guys to follow a journey with me, right? So going back to the thing that I was talking about, building good habits, right? So once you start actually, like once you have the rule sets for your trading, right? Then you go ahead and you follow that rule for 30 days, right? So you start off with the first week, right? You follow your rules your first day, your second day, your third day, right? Let's say you break it on the fourth. It's fine. Restart. So you start on the first day, second day, third, and then fourth, fifth, and then things start to add up, right? You're not gonna just right away just go from not following your rules at all to then boom following all for the entirety of a month, all 30 days, follow the rules, no rules broken. That's impossible, right? You're gonna be breaking here and there, but the fact is you're gonna start slowly building these good habits to now eventually eliminate that bad habits, right? Which in turn is what's gonna make you profitable over the long run. You have to have a vision of a long run. You can't, this is not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? It's a very long journey that takes at least at the very least 1 to 2 years. Like if you haven't been in the market for 1 to 2 years, you can't call yourself a trader, because sure, there are these gurus that say they made it out, they became profitable in a year or less than a year. I hardly doubt that, like, because trading takes a very long time for you to master, because you have to master yourself and your emotions, and that takes a very long time. So anyways, if you haven't been in the market for at least a year, you can't say nothing. You don't, in my opinion, you don't have a say in trading. Okay, you need some experience under your belt in order to speak on trading, in order to like have any sort of like knowledge or experience, right? And once you actually start to build these habits, right, it goes from, all right, I followed my trading rules for 3 days, right? Then the next day, okay, I followed it for 4. Next week, I followed it for 6, and then 7, and then 2 weeks, and then almost 3 weeks. And things start to add up, right? They start to add up slowly and slowly. And then when the month finishes, you don't even realize now you're following your trade rules for a whole entire month, right? And then you look back at yourself and be like, well, just a month ago, I wasn't following my rules. And I'm not saying this is going to happen within a month. It could definitely and probably will take a lot more than just a month. But I'm just saying for the purpose of the scenario, it all these good habits that are going to start to build up, you're going to start to see your profits also go up, right? And another thing is, right, you have to change and shift your perspective on winning and losing days, right? So if you have a set of rules, right, and let's say you followed all the rules to the dot, right? Let's say you took the trade that you were supposed to take. It's an A plus setup, followed all the rules, right? And then you lost on a day and you got off, right? And in your mind, you're like, well, I lost money. It's an L day. No, it's not an L day. It's a W day, because you followed your rules, you conquered your emotions, and you conquered yourself. You didn't act on your emotions when you lost. You didn't go and try to revenge trade. You didn't over leverage. You followed your rule book. And yes, at this point in time, you have a negative P&L on your screen, but that is not the main thing. You can't be focusing on the money aspect. You have to be focusing on the aspect of becoming a better trader in any field in life, any job, any field, any industry, any athletic sports or anything, right? You never focus on the actual like reward. You focus on the progression. You focus on the actual journey itself. You're not gonna become, I don't know, a football player and then just focus on scoring goals, scoring goals, scoring goals. You're never gonna get there unless you don't focus on your actual training, on becoming a better football player, and like honing down your skills, honing all the drills and everything that you have to do to become a better football. And as a result of you focusing on the progression and on the actual hard work, then that reward is going to pay off. It's the same exact thing with trading. You can't be focusing on making money, because if that's your mindset of me, you want to make money, you're going to be money hungry driven, going to act on your emotions when you don't make the money. And one day you lost to be like, well, I didn't make money today and I've been making money for the last week. I need to make money today too. And then the next thing that you notice, your account is gone. Why? Because you acted on your emotions, right? This is probably the most important advice that I can give you guys, is discipline and good habits is going to take you guys very, very far. Not just in trading, but overall in general, like in life, right? If you're able to tell yourself that I'm going to follow my rules for at least 30, at least even 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, right? If you're able to do that and you prove to yourself that you can do that, and then you slowly start to see you getting progression with some of the green P&Ls. Even if it's some red P&Ls, it's fine. It's still a W day because you followed the rules, but you're gonna start to see the green P&L on your screen, because what are you doing? You're following your rules and you're following your profitable strategy. And obviously, you need a profitable strategy in order for you to be following a 30-day rule book, right? But let's assume that you guys have a profitable strategy, or the strategy that I'm gonna give you guys later. If you just follow those rules, and if you do that for a longer period of time, I promise you, I'm not going to get it, but I promise you guys that you guys will come out with green in your P&L, right? Because at the end of the day, it's all about psychology. Once you master your trading strategy, once you master all the technicals, it's literally the matter of psychology. When are you going to master your psychology is when you're going to become profitable, right? Because at that point, you have the technicals down. Later, or the part that makes you money, you have that down, right? Now it's a matter of fact of mastering yourself, because that is the second part, which in my opinion is the most difficult part to do and the most difficult thing to conquer, which again, just takes time. This is a matter of time, right? If you follow your trading strategy, if you follow all your rules for a day, for 2, for a week, you could do it for 2 weeks, you could do it for 3 weeks, and you could keep on compounding it pretty much, right? If you follow for 2, you can follow for 3. If you follow for 3, you can do it for 4. And then you're not going to realize, but you're already making money in the meantime, right? So I just want to leave this video off with this main message is start building good habits, right? Wake up early, trade, have a rule book, write down all your rules that you need for your strategy, right? Have that down. follow those rules in the AM or PM or whenever you trade. After that, whenever you're trading things on, shut it off. Don't look at your charts. Go to the gym or go to work, whatever you have. Keep yourself busy. You have to be busy in this life, because if you just, if you're just doing whatever, if you're just playing video games all day, and if you're not, like, trying to become a better person daily, like, you're not really going to get far. Right? Keep yourself busy. Do all the things that you need to do. And then you're not going to realize, but time is going to pass by super quickly. And then you're going to look back and be like, well, damn, before I was just over trading every single day. I was revenge trading every single day. I was trying to get all my money back and everything like that. And then now I'm just super against that. Like, now I want to follow my rules. Then you start to shift your dopamine, and you start to feel that you're not going to get these dopamine rushes of like trying to gamble or trying to get your money back or trying to, over leverage or revenge trade, right? And in fact, it's going to shift, right? Now your brain is going to act on, it's going to feel good, and it's going to feel rewarded once you follow the rules, right? So then your mindset is going to shift from a gambling mindset to an actual professional trader, right? Trading should be boring, right? You should be looking at your charts in the morning and just sitting there and waiting. Like 90-80% of the time, you're just sitting there and waiting, and literally waiting for your A+ setup. If it presents yourself, you execute on it without any hesitation. Win or loss, it doesn't matter, because it's your strategy, right? You lose, it's fine. It's still W day, because you followed your trading strategy and your rules. You go back to the next day and you do the same thing over and over again, right? Same with winning. You win, boom, your strategy is rewarding you. Your rules are rewarding you. You continue on doing the same thing for a longer period of time, and that's going to compound, okay? That is how you should be looking at trading. Trading shouldn't be fun. Trading shouldn't be like too exciting, or like, like, oh my god, I can't wake up and I can't wait to trade. I can't wait to put up all the sides, and I can't wait to see my P&L fluctuate up and down. That's gambling, right? As hard as it might sound, that is straight up gambling. That's what a gambling mindset is. Trading should be boring. Like, I understand all of us get that excitement of making money by pressing a few buttons. There's nothing wrong with that. But you looking to do that and you actively seeking it is what's gambling. That's not trading anymore at that point. That is straight up gambling, and you would be better off to just go to a casino and put it all on black or something like that. So the main point that I want to leave you guys off with here is follow your trading rules, right? Set your trading rules. If you guys don't have it, I already explained some of it, but follow your trading rules. Become disciplined. Don't rely on motivation, because motivation is temporarily. Build your discipline, right? Start building good habits, and eventually those older bad habits are going to start to slowly fade, and you're not going to realize how then, boom, in a month or 2 or 3 or however long that's going to take, you're now a way better trader than what you started. You're not acting on your emotions anymore. You're actively seeking. Just look at your trading strategy. Just see in the markets, all right, is my trading strategy present? If yes, I execute. If no, I get off. That's it. You're not doing anything more, anything less. You're simply being present in the market, and you're reacting off based on what the market is giving you. Right? You're not trying to force your own will on the markets, right? Because a lot of the times people that's what people do, including myself. I try to like force a trade to be like, well, I think the trade is gonna go here because my psychology is thinking that I'm gonna make money if the price just drops right now, like, and I just try to force my short or something like that. The market doesn't care what you think. The market doesn't care how much money you lost. The market is gonna do what it needs to do without you or me in it, right? So you can't be forcing your own will. You have to just react based on what the market is giving you, right? And yeah, guys, that's about it. That was part 2 of the psychology video. I feel like it's a very important thing to realize, especially if you already have a trading strategy. If you don't have a trading strategy, don't worry. Follow along with this boot camp. For the most part, I've given you guys most of the lessons that you guys really need to focus on, especially in the ICT concepts. You don't really need to focus on anything else but what I'm teaching you guys, because ICT, in my opinion, is just a bunch of BS that is like, named more smartly or more fancier for you to act, more sophisticated than it should be, right? Whatever I'm teaching you guys, just trust me, that's all you guys need. You don't need anything extra. That's literally all you need in terms of being profitable, right? And I have a few more videos left in this bootcamp. I have the daily bias, drawn liquidity, and then the actual trading strategy, and that's about it. The trading bootcamp is going to come to a wrap soon. So yeah, guys, if you guys like this little yap session, please put a thumbs up. Comment down if you guys have any questions, psychology or trading or anything else related. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.